Hey, Alex.
Hey, Nick.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I sound good.
Yeah.
I sound like I have a podcast.
Yeah.
Which is because I have a microphone.
Yeah.
That's used for podcasting.
For those of you just joining us, welcome to Little Justice, Season 2, Movies and Mayhem. Season 2.
Season 2.
I am currently in Ithaca on a gig, and I forgot the cord that connects my microphone to my Scarlett 6i6, and thusly I'm talking into my headphones like a
brought the Scarlett.
I brought the Scarlett.
And the microphone.
I have the Scarlett. I have the mic. I have the cord that connects the Scarlett to the computer. I have the dongle. You know, I just don't have the mic cord.
Gotcha. So,
you know, this cold open is we're gonna chalk it up and call it a special one.
Oh my god! So you're in Ithaca right now?
Ithaca, New York,
doing production of Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd, outdoors in the outdoors
production.
And this role, it's like it wasn't like I eased back in either. It's like this role is just dark and depressing.
It's hard, yeah, being Johnny.
Being Johnny, being J. Depp.
Do you feel like Johnny Depp? Do you feel
I
like
don't
are you competing
like
against Johnny Depp? What do you bring to this thing? You know, when you step into this, what's the Nick Walker Sweeney Todd? You know,
I'm black. I mean, I don't know what else to give you other than that. No, you know, I bring this like that's a classic throwback if you've been following us since season 1. And cut. But you know, I try to bring what you know. You know what I will say. I'm trying not to define. Oftentimes, I go into these rehearsal processes trying to like put something on the character, trying to have an idea of the character. I actually was like, no, I just want to see what happens when I interact with this text. So I think I'm finding a lot of cool things, and it's a really fun show. But yeah, I'm black. You know,
great.
Our guest this week, not a black man, not a black man. He's could have fooled me too.
What kind of man? What kind of man is he?
He's a Brightman. See, you serve it up. You serve it up like a Chili's hot plate. Just sizzling.
just sizzling all the way to the table.
All the way to the table and out your butt into the toilet after you eat Chili's. It's gross. Terrible. Yeah. Don't eat Chili's.
That's nasty.
It's really nasty. It's bad. It's bad food. Chili's, we just lost their sponsorship. We never had it, but we lost it. But Alex Brightman is on this week, and we talk about a lot of his stupidness. We talk about writing. We talk about you know, Justice, the Justice movie.
The Justice movie. Top. He's one sarcastic motherfucker.
He is super sarcastic.
Super sarcastic. I wasn't quite ready for it, but he just dives right in, and he's kind of mean, you know.
He's mean. No, kind of mean. Kind of like you. Yeah. But like with him, I know that he's got a heart of gold. With you, I just
no.
I just kind of like stare into the void.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes.
But no, he's a great guest. Also, Beyoncé Britt, you know, always around, always the best.
It's around, you know, just hiding in the wings, ready to put her 2 cents in.
Anything for you, too.
There she is.
Where did she come from? What happened?
Where's she come?
Hello.
There she is.
Hello.
You know, we're just waiting for that day that she smartens up and leaves us. You know, for bigger and better. You know.
Never.
Well, listen,
Never.
We will hold you to that. But yeah, no, it's the Justice movie with Alex Brightman, y'all. Season 2. Let's roll it.
Enjoy.
Yeah,
do it. Little justice, little justice, little justice. Fuck yeah.
You have a Mac, right, Alex?
No, I'm on PC. Oh.
What? Not Brightman. Smolo. What?
Oh, yeah, I'm on PC. I built it myself. Come on, of course I did.
Cool.
I'm the worst. Yeah.
Great job, Alex. You're already on PC. Well, that's
is that
the
why
problem.
it doesn't sound? Is that why it doesn't sound good?
It probably
Yeah,
doesn't
I
sound
think
good.
so.
Ladies
No,
and
I don't
gentlemen,
even know how to go into his system preferences.
if you're listening in, Alex, who's normally the the tech whiz of this thing, I just want to point out a moment when Alex Smolo is having technical issues. This is very intriguing to me. Like, I love this.
How's this? Is this better?
No.
Yes, that is a little. Yeah, that is a little better. You're not listening. That is a little better.
Wow.
I'm not
Cool.
listening.
So
I wasn't listening.
I've got it plugged into one of two analogs, and if I just mute the alternate, don't worry about it.
That's what I was gonna
suggest.
You guys
no
wouldn't
difference.
understand.
Mute the alternate. Mute the alternate. Mute it.
Oh, Brittany's not getting a difference though. It's fine. I'll bring myself up in post.
Yeah, and if possible,
post.
just be prepared next time.
And I'm gonna need you guys to just be a little bit nicer to me because
Oh my
I'm
God!
very sensitive.
The dynamics on this podcast are like the dynamics in Mayor of Easttown. Who am I? Dennis Miller.
Nice.
The dynamics here make the dynamics in Mayor of Easttown look like Game of Thrones, babe. I don't want to get off on a riff here. This is my Dennis Miller.
That's a brilliant Dennis Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Little Justice. We're here. We're doing things. Alex Smolo is here. Alex, I missed you. You're so beautiful.
I miss
and
you
you're my
too.
best friend. And it's nice to
Thanks,
see
man.
you. He's in his new house with a new
Look
new setup
around.
and a new job.
It's nice here. It was like the first thing I did when we moved. We still have boxes everywhere, but I set myself up with all the bookcases and stuff because I need a good work background
Yeah.
for my job that I
It looks
have.
great. It's beautiful. See, I'm being kind to you. That's season 2.
You're
Season
being
2
kind.
kindness.
I could see you like straining for it. I can see you
It
really.
really is.
It's very easy to tell with you because you do it a lot where you're like, no one else could tell. But when you're like being really nice and it's like, I mean, you mean it, but you don't really.
No, I don't.
You're
mean
just
it at
like
all.
you've trained yourself for optimism. But I can
trained
feel the
to
negativity
appear like a
underneath it
stable.
all.
Yeah, like a stable presence. We also have an amazing guest here, who is I now am honored to call a dear friend, Mr. Alex Brightman, who's in the house. Alex.
Hello,
Brightman.
everybody. Hello. Thank you for having me into
here.
this confusing throuple.
It really is disturbing. It's quite the levels just go up and down.
It's a pleasure to be brought in. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable, and I really appreciate. It's sort of the avenue in which I already live. So thank you for having me.
It's just
nice to
right
have
in
you
that.
here.
It's nice to be. Is that like coffee?
It's really nice to have you here.
Nice to have you.
Right on the corner. Oh no, I don't have that kind of. I don't know how to whisper. But I live right on the corner of sarcasm and awkward. That's where I live.
And that's
You're gonna
welcome to
fit
Little
right in
Justice.
Yeah.
You do really well. This is what we do. If you don't know Alex Brightman's work, you're an idiot. Stop listening. But
Yeah, totally.
you're a goddamn buffoon. But no, this man, is Broadway legend. But also, voiceover actor. Also, brilliant writer. Also, Alex.
See, he's doing it right now. This whole positivity with the under.
No, this is true. Everything he said so far is right.
It's right. It's spot on, and it is positive because I do believe in it. But Smolo, we have two Alexes on the show, so I have to be very specific this time. Smolo, I don't know if you know this, fellow NYU alum.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I didn't finish,
which
but yeah.
school? Really? One of the NYU drop. I feel like the NYU dropouts are the most successful ones.
I do. I have noticed that there is a trend there.
Yeah. You get there and you're like, oh, I'm at the best school for this in the whole world. And then you realize everyone's an idiot. And you're like, I'm just going to go do it instead of spending all this money.
Sort of, yeah. I was 2009 and I stayed, class 2009, and I stayed 2 years in Cap 21 when it was still there. One of the last sort of surviving classes there that was, I didn't finish. But yeah, they're at the Tisch School of the Arts, and I left to go do a show. And then I, took a leave of absence that I'm still on, and I'm 34.
Well, maybe one day.
No.
Just come on
You're
back.
not. You're done.
No.
He's done.
He's
That's
done.
fair.
What are you going to do without a bachelor's degree? You can't
right.
make it in this world without that piece of paper. I don't know if you know this.
You're right. I got to be
Maybe I'm
honest.
telling
The
you something
amount,
you don't know, but
the-
you're not going to make it.
the amount of times I have auditioned and they went, "It's good, but I see here you didn't finish college."
Yeah. Like what?
The amount of times If I had a nickel every time I heard that, I still have 2 Tony nominations.
Nice. Get into
Andy's
it. Get into
humble.
it. Little justice. We're back.
Now there's
Season 2.
justice. That's right.
There's some goddamn justice.
Yeah.
But honestly, between everybody on this call right now, including Beyoncé Britt in the studio, who we love, all 3 of these faces are people who've kept me sane through this pandemic. And Brightman, our connection came about the most random.
The most random.
We just started. We were just tweeting at each other. Random.
Yeah. To be
This
candid,
is a Twitter friendship?
Well, to be candid, it was like I had seen Nick in a musical at NYU and was a fan from afar and had heard from some people that was like, there's this kid in the show. He's great. And I was like, wait, I'm great. I want to see who else is great. And then I went to see the show and I was like, oh, I'm not a good actor. He is. Like I figured I was like, and so I became this fan sort of from afar. The end of that story. This pandemic happens and we just start tweeting something. There was something that we just ended up commenting the same thing on, and we just sort of ended up chatting and then, quickly fell in love. And then realized over some Zoom cocktails, which we ended up having little cocktail nights when we would swap scripts after finding out we were sort of both in the writing field of things. We pieced together kind of how we knew each other from NYU, and we sort of reverse engineered where that all came from. And now friends.
And now friends.
And I actually want to say, I remember, since we've had that conversation, I actually do remember the night that you came to the show, and I remember meeting you in the lobby of 721 Broadway. I specifically remember that moment, and I'm very happy that here we are 10 years later.
How long did it take to go from that show to Twitter friendship?
10 years.
A recent thing that you guys just reconnected?
10 years. 10 years, yeah.
10 years?
Yeah. Look
getting
at that.
old.
See,
You're getting old.
The magic of pandemic. There was a conversation previous to us recording whether you have the on the start of pandemic. I'm going to go with no more the.
No,
it's just
during
pandemic.
Yeah.
Pandemic. Like they
I'm
say
glad it
on
didn't get some
that.
like cheesy name to it. I'm glad it just stayed pandemic.
I mean, I think
like
the cheesy
people could
name
give it
was
some really shitty.
oh my god,
like,
people are dying. Please
like
help
nickname.
me. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a terror. That would be.
Everyone
the nickname.
kept it
It's like,
serious.
oh my god, our government has failed us, and there's a virus here. Yes, that's what I call the nickname, but I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Just a dude. But Brightman is a bright man and a brilliant man, and I'm just so honestly happy that we like.
You can also say with no real details to give up that you and I are now writing partners.
We are in fact writing partners. This is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
So
yeah, tell you what, you guys have been developing some stuff together.
Yeah, we have.
We've been there's. I think, I mean, as Alex, as Brightman, when I want to get into, this man is kind of genius with the comedy and genius with especially with the cartoon life. And so, just throwing some ideas out there, seeing who catches them. And it's
been really fun.
Super fun. And I'm very, just again, like it's really cool what pandemic has done. I'm gonna make that stick, guys. I swear to fucking God.
I'm gonna tell you what
good.
right now that you go ahead and try to make that stick, and I just found my new drag name, which is Pamdemic.
I want that for you.
Guaranteed
so badly.
it's taken. Somebody
has
it.
in fact taken it.
Yeah.
Taken it.
It was either gonna be Pamdemic or Bridget of Madison County.
Jesus Christ.
I think you're exactly
Either of
what
those
Nick's
work.
writing needs. I think.
Which is
just
a sense of
puns.
joy.
I think take like
Let
an
more-
angry kid from Boston and just bring some levity to it.
You just need a Jewish mother that's also a 34-year-old male. That's me. Pandemic.
It's not wrong. Pandemic.
Brittany's
Just
crying.
brilliant. Dudes, oh my God, this is gonna be fun. And Alex, so you're also coming to us. You're getting over. I don't want to put your tea out there, but you're getting over these allergies. I'm experiencing allergies. We're all in allergy
Dude, it's
season.
the worst thing ever.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty trash.
I didn't know
but
I
I'm
had
glad
them.
Really?
Yeah, no, me neither. I'd never had them, and then this year I couldn't breathe for 3 days. It was insane.
do we think is that because this is something that I've been thinking about? Have our medical whatevers gotten not worse, but more pronounced? A, because we've been inside. B, because we're living in the stressful time period of our lives, period. Is that possible?
What period is that?
No, maybe so. Pandemic. Bridget of Madison County.
Yes, it's possible, but also it's not possible. You know what I mean? Next topic.
Yeah.
Is that for a second? I was like, for 1 second, I was really going. I honestly came here and I'm like, is this really going to be? Is this going to be on the podcast talking about allergies?
Oh yeah. It's a movie podcast. We can't talk about movies until 20 minutes is usually about.
Yeah, it's usually 20 minutes when we get to the actual movie.
We brought Kelly Aucoin on a couple weeks ago, and I think we had to split it into a 2-parter, and we didn't start talking about movies until the second part.
I feel like that. I feel like I'm on a bad date right now. We ran out of stuff so quickly that we're talking about allergies.
No, because what you have to understand is that I have ADHD, so my mind is going to go several places. Right, and then we will circle back around to movie. We'll get there.
Right.
But there's, your person.
What's your favorite movie about allergies?
Oh my God. The Happening.
Look, I don't know if you guys have heard about this article in the New York Times about honeybees vanishing.
My Girl.
Obviously, yep.
My Girl. Now, okay, that's a great one.
My Girl's a great one.
My Girl is a great one.
It's the yin and yang of allergy movies. The Happening plus My Girl.
The Bay.
The Bay.
That's really just about an epidemic. It's not allergies. I missed the point of that movie. They had a bunch of bad case of allergies.
I love. There was a movie. Because Alex, I feel like you watched at the top of this. Fucking Contagion. Were you was watching Contagion at the top of this?
I watched it.
No, I didn't
when
watch
this
it.
Was happening.
Oh, you're not talking to me. Got it. There's 2 Alexes.
Oh, there's 2 Alexes. God damn it. This is gonna be.
Whoever's got the best answer can answer. Yeah, I watched Contagion.
There it is. Bad date. Smoley, you watch Contagion.
What do you do for a living?
I hate this. Oh my God.
I like this.
No,
What's
it's
your
great.
relationship with your mother like?
I'm just really glad we haven't. I'm extremely really relieved that we haven't started rolling yet. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. This is all B-roll. This is all
right, Britt, hit it. We're warmed up.
Oh wait,
we're now ready to go
for 20 minutes.
For 20 minutes. Well, we can get into it. We can get into it because I do want to talk about my movie for quite some time. Number one, because I just like to hear myself talk. But number two, because it's a great movie. But today's theme with Mr. Brightman is, of course, the Justice movie. And I'm confused because we've really held off on this, Alex, for quite some time.
We've really held off. We've been saving it for a special occasion, like a nice wine.
Like a nice first date.
And Brightman came over on this date. And, the date with Brightman is the reason we pull out this bottle of wine where we take the titular theme of this whole show.
Here it is.
And we say, here it is. You take it. Take it.
It's got a good bouquet on it, on the palate. It has a nice tannins.
Bit oaky.
Really nice.
Yeah.
It's dry. It's a dry. Sarah always likes a dry rosé. Yeah. It's always dry, and it has to be. She specifically asked. She says, "Is this dry?" And they'll be like, "Oh yeah," and they'll bullshit their way through it. And she's like, "Is it dry?" That's what I feel we've done here. We found like
my wine order. I like when I'm ordering a white. I don't even know what this means, but I know that every time I order it, I get the wine I like, and I go, "Can I get something that's minerally?"
Interesting. Now, what is that about? Why minerally?
I don't know. I had a
slightly
trouble
like
childhood.
water, please.
Can I get some?
Can you just
put
water?
Like sparkling water with like a hint of grape?
Yeah, just take regular white wine and then a handful of the gravel from a fish tank and throw it in the bottom of that, and that's wine for me. That's it. Minerally
wine. Now
I don't know. It always works out for me. So it sort of feels like it's like my version of like interlocking my fingers and saying "Tenet" at a restaurant. I get the right kind of wine.
Guys, it's too soon for Tenet because that just
I just watched it.
What were your feelings on that?
I think the only thing I can definitively say is I just watched it.
Yep.
I honestly cannot tell you what I watched.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
It's
time
fair.
that
It's bad timing. It was like a movie literally built to watch in a movie theater. Like you're not. He literally says like you're not supposed to get it. Just watch it. But then everyone's just watching it on their little TV, and it's like, what is this?
I'm sorry, but
don't
that's such a cop out. That's such. If I made anything, and someone was like, "I didn't get it," and it's like, "You're not supposed to get it. You're just supposed to feel it." It's like, what? So I'm doing it wrong? Fuck you.
You'd be talking
I'm
to
doing
a
this movie
Tish
wrong.
freshman.
I didn't want to. This is the same thing as like audience participation in a show. I didn't come here to be in it. I just show me the thing.
just be?
I
can't
hate audience participation in a show.
Oh, me too.
Oh, that's the worst.
Wait.
That
Even
being
like
said,
I come
I did
see
a
Nick and
little
he
bit
like
of it in Beetlejuice.
Nick would like
Yeah,
pick
that's
me
what I
out
said.
in the
You
audience
do
and, like,
it
make
in
little
Beetlejuice.
gestures.
That was. I don't make gestures. Do I make gestures?
You make gestures, yeah. It's like very obvious.
It's
like you think you're being slick.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
look.
I'm
audience
curious if we all have the same movie.
I don't think we do. I'm
Probably
pretty sure.
not.
I don't. We don't. I definitely don't. You don't have mine for sure.
Well,
And I
so
don't
Brightman,
think-
to you, a justice movie, a movie about justice, like what does that mean?
What is it for you?
I think I'm glad that it's not just about justice being served, because I think
Yes.
that injustice is some of my favorite stuff to watch. Like stuff get you by you, the audience watching it, gets to make the decision that though this is not just. I like movies
That's like the
that.
crux of drama, right? Injustice.
Sure.
pretty much.
Yeah, I like that. I've always been that the movie I picked for sure is a version of that. Where like justice is and isn't served in equal heapings. And so I enjoy balance when it comes to justice. Though, I don't hate a like death. Was it Death Wish?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is? Is that the one they remade with the guy that's just going around killing people?
Well, now there's a couple.
What's the one with Bruce Willis? That
With
just,
Bruce
they just
Willis, yeah, I
remade?
know what you're talking about. I
Beyonce
think
Britt,
it's
can we
called
get a check on that
Death Wish?
with Death Wish? Thank you. We're checking on that in the studio.
I think that's Death Wish.
I believe it is. But yeah, I do understand what you mean though. Like the restoration of balance. It is Death Wish. That's confirmation, Britt.
Well, just and like the reason I'm talking about, like, I like movies like that because they're fun, because it is like, you did this to, it's Princess Bride. You did this to me. Now I'm gonna do this. It's John. I'm sorry if I'm saying one of your films. It's John Wick. It's like the fun of it is, that he's gonna go and exact revenge, and I love that kind of stuff. But
And it's fun because there's like an element of deserving in it. Maybe
it's the
that,
bull.
like,
Yeah, it's the YouTube videos that I frequent when I need a good pick me up are bullies getting put in their place.
yeah.
Like some of my favorite videos are like bullies that are fucking with the wrong people, and then they get put in their place. Nothing gets me so aroused in my whole life than watching like a good bully getting shut down.
Now, I just want to be clear. Now, this is a genre of YouTube video that you can watch bullies getting shut down on YouTube?
Oh, it's great because everybody's got a camera now, so you just get in these situations. As soon as there's like a fight or something, people start filming it, so they see the reaction. So there's everything. I saw a video yesterday of a woman decided to spit on somebody on a bus, so he got up and just kicked her off the bus.
Yes,
That's
an
it was
old
great.
video though, right? Or is that a new?
Completely deserved it.
There's an entire subreddit that I frequent, that I suggest you all frequent as well, called Justice Porn. And it's not pornography.
Porn.
It's like food porn, but it's for justice. Like you watch like a robber robbing a bank, but then like the banker gets the upper hand and the robber gets shut down. It's like there's just nothing better than that. That's what we're talking about here too. That's like ultimate justice.
Yeah.
It's like
People who think they're in
mukbang, but for
control of doing
justice.
bad things, and they get it. The script gets flipped.
ASMR, but for justice. Yeah,
While we're on
I
it,
love
check
it.
out the power washing porn subreddit also, because that's a good one.
power
It's just
washing
people
porn?
power washing, just the satisfaction of people washing dirt away. Power washing.
This is all
Power
both
washing
of you
porn.
need to really.
But also,
agree
can I
with
also
any-
just while I'm here, suggest regular porn?
Yes, please watch.
Also good.
Please give.
and then power wash yourself.
And also, purchase it. You have to support the performers. That's what they do. I'm friends with a couple.
Do they have like a Broadway Cares equivalent? Because can we
two times a year, everybody, the Broadway community gets together to collect for the hardest working people on this planet.
20% of proceeds.
20%.
Yeah.
Only 20%.
Only 20%. I mean, the performers have to make a living.
They do have to make a living.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's very true. But this is the catharsis of justice. I love that. The idea that you are watching a thing get balanced. And it
tell me that. Sorry to cut you off. Then
please.
Tell me the difference between a justice movie and a revenge movie. And are they the same thing? Like, is revenge a justice movie, but not vice versa?
That's interesting.
You know what
because, go ahead, Nick.
No, please, you. I'm here for you. I want to hear.
No, let me think, because I want to think. That's a good question. You had something to say, and I was just going to start rambling.
I love your rambles, but I'll go anyway. What I will say is, I think that it entirely depends on the story world that you've been built within the movie. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, the story world of the movie. Because if the story world is a world wherein we are very much like a John Wick. John Wick, the first spoiler alert, his dog dies. We are rooting for John Wick to find justice. So everything that happens.
Sorry, his dog does not die. His dog is murdered.
Yes, the dog is murdered horribly, and it's a cute dog.
Yeah. That's a big difference. The dog doesn't just pass away.
Me right now.
It does not just pass away. It's very upsetting. It's a very upsetting moment, and that story world is thusly built like everything is like, oh my god, like even the criminals are like, oh, we fucked up. John Wick's gonna kick our ass because we did something that shouldn't have happened. That's justice to me. Kill Bill, right? Which we go back has come up several times on this podcast. I think the story world is a little more gray. Obviously, she was. She was murdered on her wedding day. That evokes a lot of sympathy, and she comes through a lot to get there. But I guess that's a justice movie too. To me, a revenge movie, the difference between a revenge movie and a justice movie, comes entirely down to the hero. I don't know. I can't say anything more than that. I just feel like there's some.
I disagree.
Really?
I think a revenge movie is about the hero because it's the hero that gets revenge, and it's the question of is that revenge justified or not, right? It's like, is it okay to do something bad in retaliation for something bad that's been done to you? A justice movie is about people who have done bad getting what's actually coming to them.
Fair.
I also want to throw in that I think a justice movie, doesn't need someone getting justice or not getting, I think that like justice can be served in a way as well. Like I think there are many movies, like even the smaller comedy genres, like Big Daddy, the Adam Sandler movie, like justice is served. Like, there was the idea that there is a literal court case, like where like they lay down an injustice happens, you want him back with the kid, and then he does get, justice in a way, and metaphorically is served as well. So I think it's not always about getting something over on somebody.
I like how you're using the courtroom drama as an example, and you pick Big Daddy as the courtroom drama.
Well, what else? As if there are so many court dramas. Okay, yeah. A Few Good Men and Big Daddy.
There you go.
That's really the top two. That's it. There's no more.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth, and I wipe my own ass.
Classic lines from cinema.
Yeah.
And both Adam Sandler
both said by Jack Nicholson.
Both, in fact, said by Jack Nicholson. Brilliant.
Man.
The Shining. Great movie. Anyway, but yeah, I think that's a great question, Alex, Mr. Smolo. The difference between the revenge and the justice. It's a good topic, and it's, again, like other topics that we've had on the show, it's a topic that I think we can have multiples of. I don't think this is a one trick pony. I think you can pick a lot of them. But shall we get into it? Shall we discuss what our choices are? Let's do this. I'm feeling hyped for this.
I'm feeling real hot.
We're coming in real hot on this one. This is real hot. This is a hot take.
I'm hot. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here right now. I can't go much hotter.
Brightman, is that your allergies though? That's what I'm concerned about.
That could be.
Yes, I am. I'm deathly ill right now. So yes, I have a humongous fever.
It's just like in between like fever dream and death is where the best content for this podcast comes from.
Twice a year, we come
I'm
together
not sure
to
I'm
raise
here
money
right now.
for allergies. Yes, exactly. It's illusion. It's all a rooster illusion. Smolo, because obviously we're going to save Brightman for last.
Yeah,
because
let's
he's our
start.
special guest. Who do you want? Do you want to go first or shall I?
Well, you wanted to talk a little longer, so I'll go first and
Did
get it
you
out of the way.
just say rooster illusion, quoting
Yes, I
Tropic
did.
Thunder?
I
Okay,
absolutely did.
move it. I am in the right place.
You are. I told you. This is. Welcome home.
I'm in the right place. I didn't think I was until now, and now I know this is a fever dream.
None of this is real. Smolo, go for it. All right, so set us up. Give us the
All right.
give us the description.
Here we go.
I can't wait.
I will have you know that I watched this movie while I was doing some motion graphic stuff in After Effects, and it felt very weird to be working on one screen and watching this movie specifically on another one. We open on title cards. You can immediately tell from the like Cat Stevens-esque music and the grain and everything that this is like densely 70s. It's one of those like these are not real people kind of cards. These events are whatever. Probably unnecessary, but to set you up for, or it's based on real events, or one of those Texas Chainsaw-esque, getting you in the mood to watch something real or not real.
This doesn't make sense.
It's an idyllic day in an idyllic suburban home. There's a forest and a pond. The birds are chirping. The music is pleasant.
Cat Stevens.
There is a teenage girl getting ready in her room for a date, maybe doing her makeup. Outside, the mailman is delivering mail. He starts looking through the mail,
I have
reading
a question.
her
Sorry,
name.
I have one. I'm sorry.
Yep.
What else would he be delivering?
That's true. Packages, maybe, but he doesn't have any packages today. Just mail.
Just mail. Just letters.
It's important because he's looking through the mail about how many pieces of mail this girl is getting, and it's a little creepy. And he makes some mention of well, she's just the prettiest little thing in the whole world.
Already we're having
And you
problems.
cut back to this girl, and she's it's creepy, but the music's positive and everybody's positive. And then she goes downstairs and she's talking to her parents about how her and her friend are going to go to, I can't remember the name. It's like Murder Cannibal or some really crazy name. They're going to a concert, but the music's pleasant, and her parents are just like, oh, that's so fun. I just read about that. That's the guy who killed a real chicken on stage, right? She's like, Daddy. Just weird.
this movie?
And then he makes
Is this
some
a-
comment
this is a
about
real
how she's
movie?
not wearing. This is a real movie, and you'll know what it is.
Just making this up.
It's a very famous movie.
It's not.
He makes some
Halloween,
comment about how she's not wearing a bra, and she's Daddy, whatever. I got real Natural Born Killers vibes from it. He had a real like Rodney Dangerfield in Natural Born Killers vibe. So she goes off. It's all pleasant with her friend. They meet up. They're going. They hear something on the radio. They walk by a store or something. There's a radio about 3 convicts who have just escaped and are on the run. You cut to the convicts, and we start spending time with them. It's 2 guys and a woman, and then this guy's son.
Oh.
And they're just crazy people. But it's all positive and weird and pleasant and whatever. Not too much longer after, the girls meet one of the guys on the street, and they're trying to find weed for this concert. And he says, I have some, but you got to come up to my room. And from there, the whole thing just descends. Do you know what it
Alex?
is yet?
I don't
I
know.
thought
what
I
this
did, but
movie is.
I'm not look. I'm just looking it up because I don't know the title. But I want to just quickly see. I think I know what it is. But give me.
I've gotten like 20 minutes into the movie now. I don't know when I'm supposed to cut off.
Yeah, no, you got to just tell us what.
I could
tell
get
us
to the
what it
end.
is.
I could just walk you through the whole plot.
No, don't walk us through the plot. I'm now.
Wait,
interested.
I have a.
What is
Can I?
this
Can I?
movie?
Can I guess?
Wait,
You
yeah,
can
Brighton,
guess.
guess.
Is it the Black Coat's daughter?
It is not the Black Coat's
Okay.
daughter. No.
Keep going, Alex. Don't.
All right. So
yeah, keep going
these,
until someone gets it.
These wide-eyed
What is
innocent
happening?
girls who are on their way to Murder Cannibal concert have come up to this apartment looking for weed. They come inside and immediately they close the door, and it's like, gotcha. And the girls immediately realize what's happened, and they're like, oh shit. Because all 4 of these people are sadistic. You can just tell they're sadistic.
It's
And
not
they try to
Texas
back out
Chainsaw.
of it. It's not. It's in the same vein, same time. It was made as a B movie, but just happened to be
wait.
kind of better. than it should have been. I think it's got a renown because it's got a very basically.
Was this movie remade?
It was remade.
Recently?
Yeah, it was remade
with Imogen Poots.
Maybe I think Spencer Clark was in it. You know Spencer Treat Clark.
I'm not gonna get the name.
Come on,
what is
you got it. Wes Craven directed it. We're getting closer. I can't really.
Nightmare. No, it's not Nightmare.
You're so close. You're
what
right
is
there.
It? Fuck.
Last House on the Left.
God damn it.
Weasel, take out your knife. Now, I'm gonna tell this little lady here to do something. And if she doesn't do exactly what I tell her to, I want you to cut her, I want you to cut her friend.
Wow, brother!
One time. Hey.
Come on.
Hey.
Talking to you.
The Last House on the Left. I don't know that I've ever done one that you've never gotten.
I know it. I've never seen it.
First.
He's never got it.
Last House on the Left. This movie it's messed up. First of all, so these girls get kidnapped. They get assaulted, kidnapped, driven into the woods. Eventually, they get murdered and killed. The first half of the movie, more than half of the movie, is watching this descent happen. They're trying to escape. They get the upper hand. They lose the upper hand. It's based this kind of cat and mouse struggle, and they both end up getting murdered. What happens is, the bad guy's car breaks down after they've killed these girls, and they go they seek refuge at the parents' house, from the parents from the beginning, who are like these innocent, happy-go-lucky older parents. And the parent, at one point the girl's given one of the characters a necklace, and the mom clocks it. And as soon as they recognize, oh, these guys killed our daughter, they put it together like instantly. It's like Home Alone. And they immediately just go to town on these people. And it's brutal.
I don't know if I've seen this.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a classic. Last House on the Left. We watched it at NYU in our horror class as part of like horror history. Because it's very distinctly, it very distinctly has a message, right? Like the tone of it, the music of it, the themes and motifs and all that are very like, and I don't even know exactly what it's trying to say. But especially in a time when Texas Chainsaw Massacre's out and all these Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all these movies about punishing sexuality and all of that. It's like, I would love to like read a bunch of analysis on it because the fact that these girls never have a chance, and it's the parents who are usually the ones saying, don't have sex, don't be this way, don't do this, don't do that, are immediately the ones who pull the chainsaw out and cut the guy up.
Sorry, crew. I can only find one cell.
The mom seduces one and ends up biting his dick off. Like really
by the
crazy.
way, for those of
stuff.
you listening, Alex is frothing at the mouth right now.
He is, in fact. If you can't see it, click and subscribe. By the way, YouTube.
Click and subscribe.
Yeah,
ever since we switched to video, I picked
like button.
Smash it. Smash it. Smash it.
Smash the subscribe. No, but like it sounds like and is a terribly violent and awful movie, but it feels contextual to what it's about, if that makes sense. And in terms of what we're talking about with justice, it being about justice, where there's no sense of do they deserve it, don't they deserve it? There's no sense of is it right, is it wrong? It's like these people do something bad to someone innocent and are immediately served it back in equal proportion.
Yes.
And that's the movie. It's literally about that.
Does it have a resolution?
The parents murder them, and the cops show up. These like dopey cops show up and just sit down with them. They're covered in blood, and their daughter is dead. and they're covered in blood, but they've served justice, so they just sit there.
I mean,
the cops do nothing the whole time. It literally is. That's what it's about. Is like watching these people get their comeuppance, watching people do terrible things, and then watching them get served for it.
Taking the situation into their own hands.
Yeah, but it's not. The parents aren't developed characters. You don't know anything about them. They're not there making a statement. Like, they don't come back until it's time for them to murder these people. Like, it's literally about the villains almost, because the main characters, the girls, die halfway through, and then it's about the parents.
It almost in a way reminds me of the movie that got made by the Coen the Lady Killers, right? Where it's like you do bad things and karma will find you, and that was the same in the original movie as well. Like that's just that idea of like, yeah, you're gonna kill these girls, well then you will get killed. Like that is how it works. That is very justice. That's very.
It's also very it's very Hitchcock too. All the stuff, all the where you're supposed to focus and being wrong.
Right.
And that kind of stuff
totally. I mean,
really fun.
Going in blind, not knowing anything about it, it'd be very shocking, to be like, oh, the girl's like, oh my God, they died. Now what happens? And then like, that feeling in a movie theater when justice starts to get served and everybody just starts going wild. Like, oh my God, are you serious? Is that about to happen? Like that's the whole third act of like, oh my God, the parents are like never in danger. They just go for it. They're like setting up traps and they get a shotgun and a chainsaw and like just go ham on them. And it's satisfying.
I gotta watch.
So Last House on the Left, it got remade. It shows kind of the sign of the times that it got remade, but they let one of the girls survive. The daughter who was supposed to die, that is the reason the parents do what they do. The parents still do what they do, but then the daughter comes crawling out of the woods all bloody and is like, I'm here, and they go to the hospital.
That's
like they wouldn't actually let her die, which I thought was interesting.
Please don't let her die. Please,
yeah.
And Beyonce,
served. That's
Beyonce
interesting.
Britt, yeah, Beyonce Britt, you've seen this. You've seen both these movies, both the remake and the original. Is that correct?
I've only seen the remake, actually.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original.
The original.
Well, maybe I have, but it's been a really long time.
It's Wes Craven. It's Wes Craven who did Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street, and so he's got a very particular sense of horror and thriller and violence, and like he knows what he's doing with it. But it's super low budget. I think it might have been his first film actually.
What year was the first Last House on the Left?
I believe it's 72. Yeah.
72? Okay.
72.
I just want to see one.
I think it's 72.
2009 being the remake.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
That's I will. That might be my watch tonight. I might
check it out.
That sounds great.
It's upsetting, and it's very
Is
like
it now?
just like Texas
so
Chainsaw
pleasant.
Massacre. Like they're very content to just have awfulness happening, but it all balances out in the end.
You know what's so funny? I have the movie I want to talk about, but you just gave me one that is so good, like that I hadn't thought of. So I'm gonna tip it now because you just reminded me of it because of this notion of like where movies get like the structure of it's wrong. You know what I mean? Like where you're like, wait, this isn't how horror movies happen, which is the movie Funny Games.
Yes.
Which is that's what this sort of reminds me of. Where like
talk
all
about
of the
existing in a
tropes,
context,
right? All of the tropes, all the things you're expecting from the horror movie, don't satisfy, which I thought was like super weird. And I'm speaking of the original one first, but the shot-for-shot remake is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I love that one. Yeah,
I just think it's crazy, that thing about like, all of the things you were used to up to that point just don't happen, which is why you're like, why is this so upsetting? Because no justice is served. Like that's the thing. That is a movie where zero justice gets served, and even when it does get served, spoiler alert, the bad guys rewind the movie.
Yes.
Like, so which is insane, and then exact more justice on the family.
It's so crazy what you can do with that media, and
that's a brutal movie.
Oh, it's completely brutal. It's do not watch that if you're looking for a good time, because that will hurt your
It's not a date movie.
It's not a first date movie. It's not a first date movie, or a second. Alex, good choice, my friend. You stumped me for the first time in the history of the podcast.
I did. Watch more horror. You're getting into horror now. I got to educate you.
Yeah, you do got to educate me.
So, Last House on the Left. Have you ever seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nick?
Yes, I have. That I have.
Okay. You have seen that?
That I have. Yes. All right, let me go so that we can get to the main event being Brightman's wonderful choice. Alex, you're gonna hate me. I just want to say that.
I
right
already
up front.
do.
I know you do. So
I'm excited for you.
Thank you, Brightman. I really appreciate it. So some context on this. We originally chose this topic. Now this is past a couple weeks past, but in the wake of the Chauvin, the Derek Chauvin verdict, that was one of the original impetuses to bring this topic back around for a justice served or a justice movie. And so I really wanted to pick a movie that was justice served, but specifically justice served in America and what that means and all the complexities that holds. Because I think the thing that hit me about the Chauvin trial was, as much as it was, somebody getting, or I mean, certainly the family got justice, and certainly this was the first time where in this kind of trial in a long time that justice had been upheld, right? There was all these complications about still the larger implications for the country and the fact that it took us this long to get here, but the fact that it's like one in how many cases, and that same day something else happened, and it's always complex, and too much life has been lost, and all these things. So I wanted to look at a movie that looked at that in some way or another. Alex, both Alexes, I think, and Beyoncé Britt, I think you probably be able to get this right off the bat, and I'm almost sad that I haven't brought this movie in before, but this is kind of the perfect time. I'll start with a quote. The movie doesn't start with a quote, but I'll start with a quote. From the movie. It is relevant. You only need to hang mean bastards, but mean bastards you need to hang. We start on the face of Jesus. Look at that. Start on the face of Jesus. It's a wooden face of Jesus, and we only know that once we zoom out. And then we zoom out and we see that it's not just his face. It's a statue of Jesus on a cross, very faded, very worn, and it is stuck in the ground in the Wyoming snow. And a carriage is coming up behind it. That carriage is coming up to some good music, some good Ennio Morricone music, and pulls up, stops at a hill, and the driver pulls up, and there's a black man sitting on top of a pile of bodies, and the black man looks up, tilts up his snow-covered hat, and says, "Got room for one more?" And the movie, of course, is. What's the movie? Somebody call it out?
We know.
Hateful
We know this. The Hateful Eight.
Them Peckerwoods left their homes and families and come up this snowy mountain looking for me and fortune. Ain't none of them found fortune. The ones you ain't never heard of no more, they found me.
The Hateful Eight. This movie has. It's so funny because it truly, like, when I saw this movie, right, he had just come off of Django, and Django was like a forefront of my mind. And then I see this movie. Very different experience than Django. Django is like fantasy, revenge, all these amazing things. He was, just cooking on his like historical revisionist history bit, which he would then continue again in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood after Inglourious Bastards. But this was kind of a departure, and it was originally intended as a sequel to Django. Right, this was supposed to be kind of the continuation of this story, and you sit and you watch it, and especially the way this movie came out. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but this was released in full 70 millimeter, and like it was like Panavision, and you got if you went to the earlier screenings, you got a playbill. There was an intermission.
Yeah, there's an intermission. They're like a roadshow version.
A roadshow version. It was gorgeous, and you sat there, and I sat there and watched this film, and to this day, the only time I've been more excited watching a film was Avengers Endgame, in terms of like crowd pleasing, like, oh my God, this is happening, because it was just such a I think that his movies have. We're talking about Tarantino, by the way. I'm talking like I fucking know this man. I've never met this man in my life, but I just love his work. This movie, this was one of his first without Sally Menke, his amazing editor from Pulp Fiction on, and she really had a way of just cutting his movies down to like the bare minimum, and they still ran long. This movie was so fucking long, and there's so much that could be cut out of it. However, However, that first act, which is essentially a build-up to, spoiler alert, shooting Bruce Dern after a ridiculous monologue, like it is all about, right? It's all about America. It's literally a movie about taking all these disparate people from like pockets of the country and sticking them in a house together, and like they have to figure out who done it, and also like trust each other or not.
What you writing, friend? Only the unqualified to write about. What's that? My life story. You're writing your life story? You bet I am. Am I in it? You just entered.
And so you're just watching like these horrible people just go at each other's throats. And then, you know, and the brilliance of this, by the end of the movie, the Confederate soldier and the Yankee soldier come together to hang the villain, and are like gonna die themselves anyway. But like, it is just one of those movies. I watched it again last night in preparation for this episode, and I was just like, good Lord, it is what I love about it is it is such a struggle to get to that moment of justice. And the moment of justice doesn't even solve the issue, right? Your heroes are still going to die. Like, they are literally bleeding out in a house that is captured in a blizzard. Nothing good is going to come of this. But the one good thing they can pull out of this is they kill this horrible person. And they kill her in a horrific way. You watch every detail of this hanging. This is a person who has been punching people. She has masterminded the deaths of so many people. She has been slinging around racial slurs like they were candy. She's just not, I mean, all of them are hateful. She is very hateful. But it was just this, you just get a sense watching it of like, yes, good, thank God she's gone. Because like she kills Kurt Russell. And that's horrible. And she kills him in a horrific way. Like, and the look on his face before he dies when she kills him is just like, oh, you know, it's.
But also,
it's
you know,
just,
it's that
yes.
it's that thing. It's that amazing thing where when justice is served and nobody's there to witness it is even cooler.
Yes.
Like there's something about like that. What makes it interesting because we're an audience watching it, but like in the realm of the actual context of the world, it is a thing that happened. It was a tree falling in the woods. You know what I mean? Like it was like. It didn't happen, or did it, or didn't it? It was like why I think it was so cool. It was like this whole big long opus of this crazy ass vivid story with incredibly complex characters, all in a house, 12 Angry Men style, and it might as well have never happened. Ever. It didn't. You know, no one knew about it. That I think is even cool. Like that sort of like goes to your point about like the Chauvin stuff is like we saw the Chauvin thing because it was all over the news. But while we were turning this way, another thing happened. And so that's I think that really does kind of to put a bow on your point. Just like that really is a great comparison.
No, it's why I love this movie so much. It does exactly that, and in that tells a very undeniably American story, a story about right, you know, the sense of justice, because justice is something you do at the end of the day. You do what's right, but like you said, Brightman, like it doesn't mean it's going to reverberate on the hills. It means that it's one thing that you may or may not see, and you may or may not even get to see the end result of it. You just do it, and it happens, and then who knows if anybody ever finds out about it. And to me, I also think, you know, Sam Jackson obviously is a stalwart in all Tarantino films. I think this is one of his best performances of all of them, and I include Jackie Brown, and he's terrific. They're all terrific. It's a play. I'm obsessed. I'm sorry. I'm obsessed with that movie so much.
It's a play. Well, that's how they did it because he didn't know if he was going to make it or not, right? So they did it as like a reading or something first. They did it as a read because it got leaked. The script got leaked. Staged reading or something. Yeah.
Script got leaked and then he did a staged reading. It was like and the cast was like pretty much the same. There's a couple people they swapped out, and then from that reading, from the response to that reading, they were like, "Yo, you got to make this movie." And so then he goes and makes it, and then they rehearse it like a play. I mean, really, because it's just them in a house.
It's big long scenes.
Big long scenes. It's so powerful, and I just
that's why also I think you can tell that's one of the reasons why it's so good. You're bringing up a good point. Is that there are so many movies like that are great, but would be so much better if the editor didn't have to stick their hands in it all the time. That when you just let actors build tension themselves and the editor doesn't have to do it, you can feel that. There's a different feeling of when actors build the tension versus the movie building the tension. Because that's when I think the characters really shine. When you just get to kind of uncut, horribleness on display without an editor having to come in and make them look horrible. They do it themselves.
They do it themselves.
And I mean, Tarantino's best stuff is those moments too. Like Hateful Eight, most of it is theatrical, right? It is a one-room stage play. But you look at Inglourious Basterds, that opening scene.
Oh,
it's that monologue.
Exactly.
Pulp Fiction. It's every just actor talking to each other. Like he has a great editor. He uses editing very wisely. But I think his best moments really do exist in actor interaction.
Yes, very much so. And that's what I love. The relationships are so deep, and with Tarantino, it's never right. He's sometimes his dialogue is very on the nose, but like the character interactions that let you know the relationships are always very subtle behavioral things. Like the relationship that was built between Jennifer Jason Leigh and Kurt Russell in this movie is so interesting because it's like, yes, they're on opposite sides of the law. You know, he's a bounty hunter, she's the criminal, but like also they kind of become brother and sister by the end of this. Like they're very much like, you know, they've been chained together for days. So like they're operating as a unit, and like, you know, she's nudging him to move over there, or nudging him for beef jerky, or nudging him to get a bowl of soup. Like there's all these, you know, communication things. And that even goes to to Demian Bashir and Tim Roth and Bruce Dern and Michael Marsden, who are in the house, right, when the other four arrive. Right, there's a whole story that you don't find out till the third act of what they did to get to that house. But those relationships play out whether you're watching them for the first time or you're watching them now with new information. It's just so.
I gotta watch this again. It's been a while.
Yeah. I haven't seen it since the theater because it is long. It is very long.
It's a commitment.
Long as hell. It's a commitment, but it's a good one, and I really do. I was when I watched last night, I was like, yeah, this is a good pick for Justice. It's cathartic, but just like you said, Brightman, tree in the woods, the performances are tight, and the dialogue is tight, and it's shot beautifully, and that music, that score, oh my God, I could live in that score.
One of the last Ennio Morricone scores, I think, before he passed.
Yeah, sadly, but it's right up there. So Hateful Eight, that is my Justice choice. Thank you.
How long you say you've been working for Minnie?
4 months.
See, if you'd have been here 2.5 years ago, you'd know about that sign used to hang up over the bar. Minnie mentioned that to you?
No.
You want to know what that sign says, Senor Bob? No dogs or Mexicans allowed. Now, Minnie hung that sign up the day she opened this haberdashery. And it hung over that bar every day till she took it down a little over 2 years ago. You know why she took it down? She started letting in dogs.
Thank you, Justice.
That's a good choice.
You know what I mean?
Very good.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you guys telling me it's a good choice. I really like that. Thank you. Brightman, it's your turn.
Here we go.
Buddy. This is the one.
But yeah, it's one of three.
Excellent.
So I want to tell you what I was originally going to pick. I was originally going to pick Gladiator. Because it is just a slow burn of justice the entire way through, and I thought it was just a really amazing redemption story of justice, which I just love also. And also it gave me a reason to watch it. So I did watch it. And but then there's something that always draws me back to this particular movie. It is not Gladiator. It is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is one of the reasons it is one of my favorite movies of all time is because justice is toyed with on a minute level. Justice is used like a rag that gets wrung out and dried out and set on fire and ripped. and nobody is safe and everybody is nice and bad at the same time, and you root for all and you don't root for some, and it's a big movie about justice being served and absolutely not being served. So you will possibly get it. I don't do this podcast, so I didn't kind of write this little preamble of like we open on a whatever the fuck, but I do appreciate it. I really enjoyed both of yours very much. Mine is going to be on the fly. But we open on an old man, and an old man who seemingly is incredibly normal, and sort of lives this normal life at an old folks' home, chatting to his old folks' friends, and he's going through his sort of routine, and sort of just feels kind of boring. It is kind of like he asks for toast, and he putters around this place and has conversations with a friend who is an older woman, and by the time we get to about 5 minutes into what's going on about anything, just sort of nothing's happened. He sits down in his old folks' sort of common room to watch a movie, and it is an old movie, and he doesn't realize what's playing until he hears this song, "Heaven, I'm in heaven." Right? So he starts to hear it, and all of a sudden he starts to violently weep. And no one knows what's going on, and no one knows why, and the woman next to him is okay, and he is, shaking. The woman takes him outside, and she asks him, "What's going on, and why are you so sad?" Anything yet?
Mm-mm. Keep going.
Okay, great. Good. And this is going to give it. This possibly will give it away. He says, did you ever? In some respect, I'm paraphrasing. Did you know what I did for a living when I was a young man? And she said no. And he says, well, I used to work on death row. I used to.
Oh,
work
good for
at a
you.
Prison. I used to work at a prison, and the floor was green linoleum. It was a place that we called the Green Mile.
Green Mile.
What did I do? They bust the springs? Oh.
Dead man! Dead man walking! We got a dead man walking here.
Jesus, please, what is he yelling about?
Oh. You might want to reconsider getting in the cell with this guy. He's enormous.
Good for you. Yeah, talk to us about this one, man. Yep.
So this movie, I saw this in theaters when it came out. So I don't know how old I was. Britt, you could look up when the movie came out and I could tell you, but I wasn't young enough to be a kid. So I wasn't a child when I saw this movie. I was an adult that had experiences and had thick skin. This was the very first movie I ever saw in a theater that disturbed me so much that I had to be taken out of the theater by my dad. I was shaking, crying. And it was 1999. So really, I was 12, right? I think I was 12 years old, which is not the right age to see that movie. Now that I'm thinking about it. But I loved Stephen King. I grew up a horror freak. I read Cujo was one of the first books I ever read in total. And my dad told me about The Green Mile, that he read it when it was serialized, because that's how it got released, and loved it and would save it. And so I was psyched to see this movie. But the reason I was taken out of this movie was because of an injustice in the movie. So what made me think of this is in this movie, there is a particular character who embodies injustice in a way that is so brutal, whose name is Percy Wetmore, played magnificently by one of the weirdest people on the planet. I can't remember his name right now. Please, you're going to tell me. He's the one that married Courtney Stodden, I think, or something.
Yes.
It was like
Doug Hutchinson.
Doug Hutchinson from Lost, yes. And he's magnificent in this movie. Yes. Magnificent, because he is a person you want to reach through the screen and choke. So I'm sort of skipping ahead here, but this is a movie about a man on death row. This is a movie about a man that works on death row and the men that work on death row. and a specific man that is brought to death row who has allegedly raped and murdered 2 young girls. And the evidence is staggering against him. And when he gets there, and it's like he's a humongous black man played extra magnificently by the late Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
As a side note, when he passed away, I cried more than some of when my relatives passed away. Because I loved him so much in this movie and others that I felt a deep loss when we lost him. So he's brought into death row, and it's clear he did it. Of course he did it. He's a huge monster of a man. Until Tom Hanks, who's the main character, sits him down and says, "Do you have any questions?" The only person that treats this guy with any sort of modicum of respect. And he says, "Do you have any questions?" And his first question is, "Do you leave the lights on a little bit here? Because I get a little scared of the dark." And from that moment forward, it becomes this movie about justice and about the miscarriages of justice. Yes, there is some paranormal, strange things that happen, which is, again, some of my favorite type of stuff, which is like very normal, like very normal place, something abnormal happening inside of it. Where you find out that this guy, John Coffey, like the drink but not spelt the same, was a quote from the movie, he is able to take pain away from people and ingest it into himself. And he can smell pain. He can sense pain. He hears pain. He is a minor deity, you sort of find out, basically. He's a vessel from God who is able to take pain away. And Tom Hanks finds that out and has no clue how to give him any sort of solace and justice, because this takes place in a time where you're black, you're guilty, you're a hulking black man, you did it, and no one gives this guy a chance. Even when he saves people from the depths of their pain and misery. And that's the one story where by the end of it, spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen it by this point, you've really missed out. That it has one of the best bookending lines, I think, ever put in a movie that I've ever seen. And I've seen the movie over 100 times, and I still cry every time this happens. I already gave you the first bookend when he asked him, "Do you have any questions?" And at the end, when John Coffey has agreed to be executed, even though they say, we can stay this, we can prove that you didn't do it, what he says to them is, I can't be here anymore because all I hear is pain. I don't want to feel what other people... There's so much ugliness in the world, and I have to hear all of it and feel all of it. So I'd rather go. And when they put the hood on him to execute him, he says,
"Please, boss, don't put that thing up my face. Don't put me in the dark. I was afraid of the dark."
I'm choking up talking about it.
Yeah.
And when they execute him, it's that moment where I went like, is that you can't process. Like, is that justice? Is it not? Like, it's obviously both and neither. But I'm sort of getting away from the one quick point of the injustice. The part that is the most brutal thing to watch on the entire planet, that has to do with Doug Hutchison, is exactly there is another character played beautifully by Michael Jeter, the late Michael Jeter, who plays Edouard Delacroix, who has this mouse named Mr. Jingles. And Edward and Percy do not get along, mainly because Edward is gay. And Percy, calls him all the gay slurs under the book, in the book and under the sun, and threatens to kill his mouse, all that kind of stuff. When Percy unfortunately is given the task of being sort of the head of the execution of Edward, Edward is furious because he's like, this is not the guy who I want to do it. You're supposed to wet the sponge when you execute somebody so that the electric current can go straight to your brain and kill you. And Percy, even after being taken to task and reprimanded multiple times and saying, "I'll do good, I promise, I will," on the night of the execution, he doesn't wet the sponge. And Edward dies, and it takes 6 full minutes. You watch the whole thing. He starts to cook from the inside. The barn begins to smell. Even Percy has to turn away. And Tom Hanks' character says, you have to watch. You have to watch this because you did this. So that is like, it's just out at every turn, justice is served and not served, like at every turn, because it's such a brutal place. And I love the way it's shot. I love the way it's written. I love the way it's directed. I love the way it's acted. But I do think it like really is this like really conflicting piece about justice.
You hit the nail on the head in so many ways. Speaking of the filmmaker, the way it was shot, Frank Darabont, who is I mean at least between that, The Mist, and Shawshank, I think the best interpreter of Stephen King. I think that he just gets the mood right.
Far and away, yeah.
You know, it's just all there, and Green Mile is one that's just like good gravy. Like you really get a sense of these men. You also, it's not right. It could have so easily been like this Oscar bait piece, but similar to Shawshank, like it doesn't shy away from the ugliness that it's like. The one performance that you had that you didn't mention that I was like was terrified me.
Oh,
Sam,
of course, Sam Rockwell.
As Wild Bill. No, I still to this day I can't. He's scary. Well,
that's the part that took me out of the theater when you find out that that not only did that John Coffey didn't do it, but he's been sitting across from the guy that did the entire time. And the way he does it, and he really delivers. And Sam Rockwell always kind of delivers a mildly slimy performance on everything he does, which is great. It's like what he's so good at is giving this like real deal grounded sliminess. But he delivers one of the ickiest performances, like Jared Leto, claims, and I think he's great, but he claims to do all this kind of method work, whatever. But like in the same way, in like the Marathon Man, Running Man, where Olivier told Dustin Hoffman to just he's like it's just why don't you try acting? It's like Rockwell did that thing that people strive to do. He just icked it up. I can't believe I forgot him. But also just died. The guy, I can't think of his name. I'll think of his name in a second.
Uh-oh.
The husband, the guy, the older man. What?
Oh, it's not James Cromwell.
It is James Cromwell. Yes,
James Cromwell.
James Cromwell.
James Cromwell's performance is really wonderfully like it's really balanced because he has the wife dying of a brain tumor, and going through his own stuff, and everybody is going. That's another theme of the movie is everybody's going through their own pain and can't escape it. Which is when they get this key to escape it. This wonderful man. The cost of it is so large, and that's when the whole thing becomes like wildly upsetting too. Is when he actually is able to like take a brain tumor out of this thing, and it nearly kills him to do it, but he does it anyway for a white woman who 2 seconds before he takes it from her is screaming the N-word at him, and he takes her and gives her a hug and takes her pain away.
Do you feel? What would you call, what genre is this? Magical realism? I always get confused with these types of Stephen King movies. What are we putting it in a genre? What do you think it is, Brightman? What is this?
I think I wouldn't balk at magical realism. I think that it is like, it's funny because he's the Stephen King master of horror, right? You're like, right. And it's like it's not horror, but there is terrifying is the wrong word, but it's like it's disturbing. I don't know like if that's a genre, but like I think gothic, not gothic. Gothic. I mean Southern Gothic magical realism, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that movie. And Tom Hanks is great, and David Morse is great. Another one who's always giving you that solid performance. Everyone. Bonnie Hunt's in that movie. Yeah.
Bonnie Hunt's in that movie, and also, I'll tell you right now, I have it right here. Barry Pepper.
Barry Pepper.
Barry Pepper, who when you watch the last scene, when you watch John Coffey's execution, which I highly suggest you don't, If you do, don't just watch that scene. Watch the whole movie, please. If you're listening, please watch. The lead up is the runway is the
Yes.
way to go here. Is Barry Pepper? It is so hard to tell whether his character Dean Stanton is crying or he's crying. It is almost it is impossible. And for me, I guarantee you, it's him. It's Barry Pepper losing it, because all of them seem to be losing a friend in that moment and not just acting. It all feels so real.
Jesus, Barry Pepper. And Barry Pepper's one, because was this before or after Saving Private Ryan?
This was 99.
So that would have been right after. Maybe it was filmed at
And
the same
Saving
time,
Private Ryan was 98. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another, because he and Hanks coming in on that one. Because I love actors who are able to build relationships over movies, and not that he and Hanks have a lot of time together, but like, I in my perfect world, I imagine that they like went to boot camp together in Saving Private Ryan, and then Hanks already has this movie in progress, and he's like, oh wait, that kid from Private Ryan would be perfect for this. Get him, and
he's wonderful in it.
He's wonderful. Oh,
I'm sorry that I'm cocking this time up, but I am the special guest. Is the character actor of the century, also not here anymore, Harry Dean Stanton, playing Toot Toot, the guy that sort of the janitor who sort of does the faux executions, the ones that where he's walking the mile, putting on the helmet, and then they like fake execute him. He's brilliant.
Yep. It's kind of a Cuckoo's Nest vibe where you can just get all these amazing characters.
Oh my God, exactly. Huge.
There is a movie I want to suggest that takes Nick's film and Alex's film together. It takes your two films and kind of puts them together almost. It's a movie. It's an old Japanese film from 1968 called Death by Hanging by Nagase Oshima. Interesting. Nick, it's like Hateful Eight in the sense that it's a one-room ensemble, basically like a play. But it's about a man who is executed for a brutal crime. I think he murders somebody. He's a bad guy. They hang him. He ends up surviving the hanging, and in doing so loses his memory and reverts back to his innocent state. And the whole movie is about the people around him trying to figure out whether it's justified to continue to try to execute him.
Oh my God. Wow. What a great premise.
It's amazing.
Jesus. Death by
That should be a play.
It's in the Criterion collection. It might be based on one, and it's got kind of it's almost lighthearted, like it's got comedic elements, dramatic elements. It's shot beautifully.
Wow. It's like a dark farce.
Right, exactly.
Very dark farce.
Because the concept of the death penalty, right, is it's divisive and it's not answerable, right? You can't. Everyone's gonna have a different answer to. If somebody murders a bunch of people, maybe they should die, maybe not. Who makes that decision? Who is that up to? And
who are you to make it?
Of that? Who are you to make it? And what what really says a human being should or shouldn't be punished for, in that way. I heard they just introduced a bill in North or South Carolina, something like that, or Montana, to bring back the firing squad, and it passed their house.
That's true. That is true. I read the same thing you read.
Because there's been problems with lethal injection, so as like a safer form of lethal injection, they're going to bring back the firing squad. So that's cool. That's fun.
Could we not?
I know.
Oh my God,
it's absolutely insane. But you guys should do way more justice. There's a million justice movies.
There's a million.
You guys need to do at least
different
one
versions of it too. Well, we should do revenge for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We gotta get you back on. We gotta bring you back for the justices.
Nothing would make me happier. Nothing would make me happier than to be brought back for the revenge justice films.
Love
it. Nice. See, it's beautiful.
Second date.
Second date. Just a quick question before we wrap up. Did anybody think to choose 12 Angry Men? Because that was my first thought.
I stayed away from courtroom stuff altogether just because it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Easy. Because
it's a very specific. Yes, it's about justice, sure, but because law is inherently about justice.
Yes.
Yes. So really, any law. Well, Britt's looking at me like, not really.
Well, I just not that justice is
served under the law, but the idea of law is to serve justice, whether it works or not. But I feel like that's different from a justice movie.
I'm currently the reason I just watched it recently. I'm currently working and developing on a play that is basically a modern day retelling of 12 Angry Men. But it's not. It's about a school board meeting that is in Oklahoma. That is meeting. Air conditioning turned off. Little nod to Angry Men.
Mm-hmm.
And they're discussing whether to use school funds to erect a stop sign and pave a speed bump on the perimeter of the school after a third grader with Down syndrome was hit and run on school property. And it sort of is like, let's take a vote is the top of is the thing. And then over the course of the afternoon, you start to see people's true colors about not just funds, but about people's morals and things like that.
Wow.
And I wanted to watch it again because I've always wanted to. I have a copy of 12 Angry Men with the cover ripped off. I've read it so many times, literally on my shelf. And I've always wanted to write something like that. And so I've been developing that for a number of years and just finally getting to the point where it's like really a thing and like readable. And it's currently titled Slow Children. I love that. For the sign's sake.
Yeah.
But also many other meanings. But yeah, so I just watched 12 Angry Men recently, and I also had the same thought. I was like, it feels obvious to bring that one in.
Can I say something? And I want to give Brightman. I want to give you a compliment here because thinking back to your choice now, the idea of bittersweet, the idea of pain and joy, right? That perfect mix. That is now occurring to me. The first play you had me read, there is a lot of that back and forth in that play. That's actually something that it's something I like. It's something I think about a lot, and it's something that why also Green Mile, we didn't even bring up the ultimate bittersweet justice/injustice is what happens to Tom Hanks' character, the old man in the beginning. You find out it's Tom Hanks, and his whole thing, because of what he did, his punishment by killing one of God's great creatures, John Coffey, is that he has to live forever. He becomes immortal, and in thinking it's great I've seen every one of my friends die. I'll always see my friends die, and it's that amazing. Like, yes, he did an okay thing. He thinks for a thing, but his punishment and his whole rest of his life is now living as an old man, watching every single person he ever loves die. He'll never stop that. So that's like, to me, like. My thing was watching this movie and reading this book of like, how are they going to really end this? And I think that is the only ending. Yeah. Yeah. Fully.
Because justice is served, question mark.
Yes. And you have to, people pay for what they do. Right?
Even if what they're thinking they're doing is good. That's what I think is so great about the Green Mile is he's paying for killing John Coffey, even though it's the thing John wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And Mr. Jingles lives.
Yes.
Because that's why in the beginning, that's perfect. We're bookending. We're almost near the end. That's why he asks for the toast in the beginning, because he goes and visits the little shed and he gives toast, and a big furry little rat comes out and eats the toast. And that's the happy ending. Mr. Jingles survives.
The happy ending. Alex, is there anything you're working on? You want to plug to the people? You want to say? What do you know? Anything what you got coming up?
And keep in mind, this isn't coming out until like June-ish.
Sure.
Like
if it's coming
horizons.
out, yeah, sure. I'm on a cartoon on YouTube called Hell of a Boss. You can check that out. Season 1 and 2. 1 is online, 2 is coming. And then this October, you can see me on a brand new Netflix show called Dead India, where I play a dog named Pugsley. So you can check. We're done with season 1. We're currently working on season 2. Nice. But yeah, that's the things. You can check me out. You can hear my voice. If you really liked listening to my voice on this, then you'll really love Dead India.
Go listen. Go watch and listen to the voice. Brightman, you are such a bright spot in my life and
right back at you.
It's been a pleasure. Been a
great first
pleasure.
date, guys.
Thank you.
And Alex, yes, if this was a real first date, to be perfectly candid, I would have walked you to your front door and given you a peck.
Yeah, I'd get a peck. Nice.
Yeah, it's a peck. See, this is what it's about.
I'll take
people.
It. That's
bringing
a good date.
People together. Brittany,
that's right.
Beyoncé
like this, Tenet.
Tenet. I have one word for you.
Yeah, Tenet. I have many questions and one word.
Many questions and one word. All right, y'all. Well, we will see. Please smash the subscribe, click the like, whatever. I don't know what we do on these channels. I don't know. We smash it. And we will see you very soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And we're out.
Little justice, little justice, little justice.